So this is round two. I'm hoping to redo this. The first time I got very emotional. I finally entered Focus 12, Robert Monroe's recordings. Um, okay, let's see if I can do this without. God, it's getting. All right, so I set my alarm clock. Set my alarm clock for. Let me take these damn things off, y'all. Give me a second. Okay, because I don't know how the sound is with those. These are the headphones that I used. Okay. Oh, and I had to turn them off because they have a mic feature, and I don't, yada yada yada. Oh my God, it is currently 6, a little after 6 in the morning. I started this, I guess you can call it this journey around 3ish in the morning. I got up. I'm sorry, around pretty close to 4 in the morning. I set my alarm, but I ended up waking up around 3:50 something. Even though the alarm was supposed to go off around 4:30, just so that I could try these. Robert Monroe's trying to. I'm trying to continue with the out of body experiences, but pretty much on demand. I became entranced. I guess I don't know. Maybe I was hypnotized. Um, I wasn't. I don't think I was. It's hard to say if I was out of my body at that point, although I could see snow, um, like the Arctic, if you will. When I very first started, that's what I saw. But I also felt as the picture was getting clearer, because obviously it, my, my body got hot. Um, and I got a little excited. I got overexcited because I could feel myself floating up and out. Um, y'all, please bear with me. Um, so I keep listening. You have to remember, Robert is giving directions and stuff, which can be a bit of a. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative, but God damn it, he don't give us enough time to do what we need. We need to do. So I'm gonna just assume that this is maybe a lucid dream at that point. But the first thing I saw was, of course, the snow, and it was like mountainous. It was a bit hazy, but then I kind of snapped back because my body was hot. It was just not comfortable at all. But I could feel myself coming up, up, up. So then it didn't take long, but I was slipped right back into that trance. And he's basically, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I just recall myself in a room with one of maybe 2 or 3 young, maybe 6, 7, 8 year old, sorry, no, maybe 9, 10, I don't know, year old boys. Um, One of them said, hey, Uncle Tony. And I'm like, hey. Um, and we talked a little bit. I can't remember the conversation, but he was the only one that was awake, anyways. Now, at that point, it was more dreamlike. But as I continued to listen, Robert said to imagine yourself creating something that you really want, something to that effect. I'm gonna have to go back and listen. I and so I created. So I thought to myself, a mansion. I, I'm gonna. I would like to create a mansion, and keep in mind that at this point I'm still in that whatever the house was with. Oh my gosh, it was a house. It was a room. At least unbeknownst to me, it. I had created a mansion, but I just hadn't seen it yet. I was floating around in this room and I could see all of these, these people, they were asleep. I went to one room, they had some people on the floor. It was all relatively dark because obviously they were asleep. But I'm like, okay, well, let me move out of here. So I go out of that house. I went to three different rooms. One of the rooms had a couple of adults with a kid. One had three kids. If well, they weren't. I don't know, they were kids, maybe 5 to 9. The next room had a couple of people in it. They were looked like maybe two teenage girls and one boy. I couldn't really tell who was who because they were all covered under their covers. I don't know. Long story short, it was looked like a regular house, relatively large house. But the moment I leave the house, it's like I went left, and I saw a light from the window, and I opened. I don't recall opening a window. I just went straight through, and then oh my God, I saw it was wood. It was a part of a wood grained mansion. And I've never seen anything like it. It was almost like a small stadium. The shape of it was like like circular, like a coliseum almost, except made of made into the side of like of a mountain, of a green mountain. There was, but it was wood, glossy wood grain. If you could imagine that, I don't know how to. I couldn't even imagine. It was. It went all the way up towards the top, and then of course at the top it was, pretty much green mountain. So it was greenery, wood grained into the sides of a mountain that was in the shape of a coliseum slash stadium, a static like a stadium. And but not, it wasn't huge, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like, I don't know, stadiums we go to with for footballs. But it was very large, but very not so large to be unattainable or not warm. It was very inviting, gorgeous. Um, then Robert starts talking again and tells me to do something else, and I'm like, okay, just think, if it wasn't enough time to explore. But anyways, I forgive you, Robert, for now. So he says, imagine doing something or being something. I can't remember the terms. I'm gonna have to go back and listen. And I said, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna imagine going to some place where there's sex workers. Of course, me, my scandalous ass. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm a sex worker, so that's what I think. I can laugh now, but what I did not realize is where the fuck I would end up. I ended up in a place that was concrete walls, concrete floor, but it was open. Okay. Um, I float up to the main vicinity, the main area where the people I could hear people. Um, it was almost like there were stairs and all of that to make it up to the top, except there was it was an opening where a window could be, and it was like all around, like it was square. God, I know I'm saying like a lot. It was a rectangular cubed shape. But in that room, you I could hear people talking, and but I could also hear gunshots. And then I noticed that these guys had these huge, well, these AK-47 type machine guns just standing around. Some of them had them pointed. Some of them were actually shooting out towards something, and I don't know what the fuck it was. I thought I was in Iraq, or I'm sorry, Iran. I, but when I got into the building, I looked at these. There were two guys that were laying. It was like a couch bed type piece of furniture. It wasn't a bed. It was, yeah, it was like a piece of furniture in the, almost like in the middle of the room, and they were just laying there. One was laying on top of the, like laying his head on the other, and he looks at me and he says my name. He looks, hey, said Tony, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I know this dude don't really see, can't see me, but he did. Oh gosh. So I mean that didn't scare me or anything. I was just kind of like, now the way that they looked, they were had hair, relatively coily, kinky hair, like a black. It was, looked black, but came down to about right here. Very dark skinned, dark toned rather, relatively thin. Both of them, it was almost like they were twins or something to that effect. And I'm just looking around like, what is this place? I don't, maybe they would, I don't know. But it was almost like they were part of the group that kind of ran the show, if you will. The other guys, they were tan colored, like, you know, um, like they were from Middle East, if you will. Then Robert tells me to do something else. Imagine somewhere, somebody that you want to see. And that got me, I'm gonna be honest. That is where, before I'll, I'll just go into it because, so he says to imagine somewhere you want to be, and then all of a sudden I shoot up towards the sky like a rocket. I don't know. At this point, I'm thinking possibly this is out of body, or the beginnings of out of body, but shoot up like a rocket, and I'm just going, and it curves. I curve down towards some place that I have no clue. I end up in a hallway that was lit but dank, like almost like a stone castle, if you will, like a hallway in a stone old world castle. And then there's a door. The door was to my left while I'm in the hallway and I see straight ahead. It was pretty much dark-ish. I mean, it was lit. It was a hall, but it was just relatively dark. But then I noticed that door. I'm like, well, dumbass, I guess I'm gonna have to go through the door. This so the door was thick. It was wooden and it had, you know how those old time doors with the metal hinges that kind of come out like but anyways, metal hinges that you could actually see, they were black, large door. And I said, you know what? Okay, so I and the lock on the door was one such that you have to open and unlock it, like this. That metal piece, one of those. I don't know what the hell you call it, y'all. But I closed the door. Oh, I'm not closed. I'm getting okay. Calm down. The moment I grabbed the lock, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, maybe, um, you know what? Fuck this. I can just walk through if this is hell. If I'm out of body, I can just walk through. Sure enough, I just walked right through the door. It's more of a glide than anything else. And I right through the door, and I saw it was dark hallway again. And the moment fear started, I was like, wait a minute, nothing. I'm good. I'm not. Can't let fear get control of me because it did start to creep in because it looked creepy. It looked fucking creepy, and so I went through. I went down the hall, and I saw a light, which led to a passageway, the light came from a passageway leading to a kitchen, a very large kitchen. Um, Although very, primitive-ish looking, it had all of the amenities and things, outside of, it looked so old-ish, um, medieval looking. Um, there was a big, large wooden table, relatively old looking too. To the like, if you coming through the passageway into the kitchen, you could see the table. Like, I'm making a left into the kitchen through that passageway. Table is to the left. To the right, there's counter space, and then a little further down from the counter space is all connected. There's a stove with what looked like a wok, a huge wok, with what I can only describe as chicken being fried, um, chicken legs in specific, that were being fried on the stove a little further down, but very close to the stove, and I could see in front of me my grandmother. I I could see her. I almost missed her because as I was coming in, I could see part of the counter space and the chicken frying before I get to the passageway because it's kind of open. It was like, yes, there was a dark hallway, but then you know how they have those walls that would stop, and then there's an oh my god, if I could just, anyways, you could see into the kitchen before you get to the damn passageway, point blank period. And I thought, I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's here at first. And then I just kept walking. And then finally I got to the passageway and I saw my grandmother. I can only think my grandmother's no longer with us, at least in the earthly plane. Um, so, God, y'all, I'm sorry. Her mother's no longer with us, but why is she here? The only thing I can think was maybe this is where she decided, I guess, to come back. I don't know. Always wanting to do things for people, cooking and cleaning and things like that. I don't know. But I know that I could hear this hum. I don't know if it was a radio or anything, but I could hear it. It was just something to the effect of da 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 da. As I'm walking towards her and I look into to see her face, and she looks just the same. She didn't notice I was there at all. So, and she was cutting, like scarring chicken, scoring, sorry, not score. She was scoring chicken legs as other pieces of chicken looked like it was just either it was on the stove frying. And I just reach out to touch her side, try to so she could. I don't, I don't know why, y'all. I just wanted to reach out and touch her. I didn't want to hurt her because I read one of Robert called himself trying to touch somebody else, and he touched them too hard or some shit like that, and they there was a psychic person, and they ended up getting hurt and bruised. So I didn't want to do any of that, so I gently tried to touch her, and she stopped. And then Robert has decided to tell me something else, tell me to do something else. Oh my God, it was fucked up. I just like, bruh, not enough time. I can laugh at this shit now, but man, Robert, bro. So I'm saying all this to say I am exhilarated. Yes, emotional. Yes, very emotional. Oh my God. I woke up out in a trance to like in a just in a shaking, and I'm still kind of like that right now, to be honest. I had to get this down before I recorded anything else. Y'all, this is me and my bed. Oh, so it is what it is. I This was my one of the first experiences I had like that. I get it. Um, part of the time I may have been lucid dream in a lucid dream, but that last time we'll have to talk a little bit later. This because this video is running quite long, and oh my God, I guess I need to get myself together. Um, but yes, I saw my grandmother. Huge kitchen, old and dank though, and I am. It did. I can't lie and say I wasn't concerned. That I'm not concerned about why she's there. I, she smiled. She was clearly happy, if you will. I don't. Well, or I can't say happy. I will say, and the only reason I'm saying that is because I personally, some people I guess love cooking frying chicken for people, but you feel me? Um, why Anyways, with that being said, I'm just gonna go because I look absolutely horrible. I have been crying, and this experience has been absolutely beautiful. I'm, oh my God. So, until next time, guys, I'm gonna, as you can see, I can't stop. I'm gonna get myself together and come back and maybe talk a bit more about specifics in another video. Thanks for joining.